काफी बड़ा परिवार है मेरा, यही संसार है मेरा। हर दिन मेरी कोशिश है इसे हरा भरा रखने की, कुछ कोशिश घर को मजबूत बनाने की, कुछ कोशिश घर को जीता जागता बनाने की, कुछ कोशिश बड़ों की सेवा की, कुछ कोशिश छोटों को बड़ा बनाने की, कुछ कोशिश नई दिशाएं दिखाने की, कुछ कोशिश उत्साह जगाने की। देश नाम है मेरे संसार का, इंडिया नाम है मेरे परिवार का, टाटा कोशिश जिम्मेदारी निभाने की।
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tata Crucible, the Campus Edition 2022. It's time for us to get started. Please welcome your host, Ms. Rashmi Furtado.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to each and every one of you to Tata Crucible Campus Quiz 2022. This is Rashmi Furtado and we are moving into the 21st cluster of this quiz. We have 24 clusters in all, each of the cluster consisting of 2 wildcards and 1 cluster final. Which also means we have identified 20 winners already who have moved into their respective zonal finals, which are essentially the semi-finals, the big semi-finals that are coming up. Now it's time for us to move into the first wild card of this cluster. Let me introduce our contestants to you and then get into the rules of the game. Our first contestant for the day is Himanshu from NIST Behrampur.
Yes, ma'am.
Following him is Shivam from ITER Bhubaneswar. There he is. Up next is Nishang from IIM Sambalpur. Utkarsh from XIM Bhubaneswar. Arunava again from XIM Bhubaneswar. And completing this lineup here today is Saket from Ravenshaw University, Cuttack. Alright, that's the lineup we have for you here today. Rules of the game. 10 questions is what I have for them, all of them on the buzzer. Single attempt per question only, multiple attempts are not allowed. +1 if they get it right, -1 if they get it wrong, and top 3 scorers from among the 6 of them will make it through to the cluster final. Rest of the rules have been explained to them in detail. The fair play protocols are right there on the screen. These are the protocols that have been also briefed to them already. The buzzer indicator light will not be appearing during the wildcard, but I will let you know who has pressed the buzzer. Time for us to get into the wildcard, ladies and gentlemen. The first question of the wildcard, here we go. Starbucks, the American coffee giant, has its Indian collaboration with which Tata firm? I'll help you out. You have options: Tata Consumer Products or Tata Digital. Saket, go ahead. He's on the buzzer.
Tata Consumer Products.
Getting a +1 on that is Saket. On the first question, he gets a positive. That's a very good start. Moving on to question number 2. Which of these is a software delivery and licensing method in which software is accessed online via a subscription? Your options: AI and machine learning or SaaS. Nishank, go ahead.
SaaS.
Absolutely right. Getting a +1 on that is Nishank. SaaS, of course, is software as a service. Gets a +1 on that. Moving on to question number 3. What is the current, or which among these is the current designation of Ratan Tata? Your options: Managing Director Tata Sons or Chairman Emeritus. Utkarsh, go ahead.
Chairman Emeritus Tata Sons.
+1 to you. Absolutely right. Utkarsh getting a +1 on that. Chairman Emeritus Tata Sons, the answer I was looking for. Question number 4. Competition Commission of India, better known as CCI, brought the Competition Act in 2002, which replaced which act? Your options: FERA Act or MRTP Act. Saket, go ahead.
FERA Act.
Oh, taking a negative on this one is Saket. The answer I was looking for is the MRTP Act, which is basically the Monopolies and Restrictive Trade Practices Act. Moving on, question number 5. Black Monday and Black Tuesday are terms used in the financial world which came into vogue. Oh, Shubham, go ahead.
Stock market.
Taking a negative is Shivam. He did not allow me to complete the question. The complete question, ladies and gentlemen. Black Monday and Black Tuesday are terms used in the financial world which came into vogue after which event? Your answer options were World War II and Great Depression. Great Depression, the answer I was looking for. Ideally, try and wait for me to complete the question. What you think is the answer may not be the question I'm asking. Alright, getting a negative on that is Shivam. Moving on to question number 6. Which of these is the tagline of Tata Tea? Your options: Taste of Togetherness or Jago Re. Himanshu, go ahead.
Jagore.
+1 on that is absolutely right. Jago Re giving him a +1. Moving on to question number 7. Brushes with History and Autobiography is a book on and by whom? Your options: Madan Mohan Malviya or Krishna Kumar Birla. Saket, go ahead, quick on the buzzer.
Madan Mohan Malviya.
Taking a negative again is Saket. He started well, but now he has taken 2 negatives already. The answer I was looking for is Krishna Kumar Birla. Question number 8 coming up now. Who is the current chairman of the Godrej Group? Your options: Nisa Godrej or Adi Godrej. Arunava, go ahead.
Adi Godrej.
+1 to you. Absolutely right. Adi Godrej, the answer I was looking for. 2 more questions remaining, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you where our contestants stand. Himanshu, Nishank, Utkarsh and Arunava are all on +1. Shivam and Saket have taken -1 each. Saket was actually doing well. His eagerness of answering the questions has now got him into a negative. But we still have 2 more questions. It's possible for him to negate the -1 and get a +1 on the next one as well. So let's see what happens. What we need to remember here is that we have only 3 spots in that cluster final for top 3 scorers from this wildcard. Let's see what happens. The penultimate question. Dow and Sunsilk are brands of which FMCG company? Utkarsh, go ahead.
Hindustan Unilever.
Give it to you. Unilever, the answer I was looking for. +1. Absolutely right. Utkarsh getting a +1. He is breathing a sigh of relief because now he's on 2 points, which means his entry into the cluster final is way more safer now. Moving on, the last question of this wild card. Here we go. Sundar Pichai is the CEO of which firm? Himanshu, go ahead.
Alphabet.
+1 to you. Absolutely right. Google or Alphabet giving him a +1. Ladies and gentlemen, with 2 points each, Himanshu from NIST Berhampur and Utkarsh from XIM Bhubaneswar, both of them have moved into the cluster final. But I still have to identify the third person who will make it through. And currently, the third position is a tie between Nishank and Arunava, both of them on 1 point each. Time to break the tie. Let me fetch my tiebreaker questions and we'll figure out who will occupy the third slot. Ladies and gentlemen, tiebreaker question. Question number 1. Here we go. DC Comics is a subsidiary of Warner Brothers or Alibaba. Arunav on the buzzer, go ahead.
Warner Brothers.
+1 to you. Absolutely right. A quick buzz on that. I expected a quick buzz. Arunava from XIM Bhuvaneshwar getting that +1, getting it right and joining Utkarsh and Himanshu into that cluster final. Well, ladies and gentlemen, time for me to get into the audience question. Time for us to binge on one here today. Your audience question, here we go. Identify the movie based on artificial intelligence starring Rajinikanth along with Aishwarya Rai, which was also a global hit. Repeating that one for you. Identify the movie based on artificial intelligence starring Rajinikanth along with Aishwarya Rai, which was a global hit. Whichever platform you're watching this quiz on, key in your answers in the chat box. If you're quick, fast and correct, you will win exciting prizes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have only identified the first 3 contestants who have moved into the cluster final. We are yet to identify the other 3 who will join them. Please join me in the second wild card which is coming up, and we'll go ahead and identify the other 3. You take care.
आजकल किसी के पास टाइम ही नहीं है जी। अब ऐसे में कोई आपकी दवाइयां बिल्कुल समय से घर डिलीवर करे, अच्छा तो लगेगा ना जी।
वाह जी,
भरोसेमंद है जी। It's 1 mg।
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tata Crucible, the Campus Edition 2022. It's time for us to get started. Please welcome your host, Ms. Rashmi Furtado.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to each and every one of you to Tata Crucible Campus Quiz 2022. This is Rashmi Furtado and we are into the 21st cluster of this quiz. This cluster is of course from the Odisha region, so you will have colleges from in and around the region of Odisha. So we have completed 20 clusters already, which means we have identified 20 winners. We're inching closer into that big finale. 24 clusters in all is what we have. Each of the clusters consisting of 2 wildcards and 1 cluster final. We have already identified the first 3 finalists who have moved into the cluster final. It's time for me to move into the second wildcard now and identify the next 3 who will join them in that final. Let me introduce our finalists to you and then get cracking with the rules of the game. Our first contestant for the day is Chandrachud from NIT Rourkela. That's Chandrachud for you. Up next is Asif from KIMS Bhuvaneshwar. Unfortunately, he couldn't join us here today, but we continue the show. Moving on with Rohan from KIIT Bhuvaneshwar. Up next is Mohit from OUTR Bhuvaneshwar. Dibyam from NIT Rourkela. And completing our lineup is Pratyush from St. Xavier's, Kolkata. Alright, so that's the lineup I have for you here today. Rules of the game, a quick recap on that. 10 questions in all of them are the buzzer. Single attempt per question only. +1 if they get it right, -1 if they get it wrong. And as I mentioned earlier, top 3 scorers from among the 5 of them will move in to the cluster final. All of them are good institutes. I've seen the quizzers from their institutes in the past quizzing with us and very good teams. So let's see what happens. Guys, may I please request all of you, alright, before we move any further, the fair play protocols are right there on the screen for you. These protocols are something that we follow very strictly at Tata Crucible. Contestants are already briefed on that, so they're aware of this already. and the buzzer indicator light, however, will not be appearing during the wildcard, but I'm here to let you know who has pressed the buzzer. Time for me to move into the wildcard, ladies and gentlemen. May I please request all of our contestants to move your phones into the camera angle, please. Good luck, guys. Remember, top 3 scorers will get through. The buzzers are open. They are very sensitive. Please be very careful. Once your name appears, you either give me an answer or take a negative, even if you choose to stay quiet. Remember that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's start this wildcard. Question number 1. Here we go. Who sold more planes among these in 2021? Your options: Airbus or Bombardier. Mohit, go ahead.
Airbus.
Getting a +1 on that. He's absolutely right. +1. Airbus, the answer I was looking for. Moving on. Question number 2. Here we go. Which of these men was the first chief of the new development bank of BRICS countries? Your options: Dr. Raghuram Rajan or KV Kamath. Dibyam, go ahead.
Dr. Raghuram Rajan.
Taking a negative on that is Dibyam. The first chief of the new development bank is KV Kamath. All right, it's huge pride for our country. Let's move on. Question number 3. The core business of Tata Power is to generate, transmit and distribute electricity. Who is the CEO and MD of this company as of June 2022? Alright, I'll help you out. Anjali Bansal or Praveer Sinha? Rohan, go ahead.
Praveer Sinha.
+1. It came with a question mark at the end, but +1 on that. He's absolutely right. Moving on. Question number 4. Channa Kochar was the former managing director and CEO of which organization? Dibyam, go ahead.
ICICI.
+1 on that. He quickly negates the -1 that he had taken earlier. Honestly, nil is a good place to be. He only has to move into the positives now. Moving on. Question number 5. The autobiography called It Happened in India was written by whom? Alright, I'll help you out. Sanjeev Goenka or Kishore Biani? Alright, time is up. 5-second rule is what I have for them. Kishore Biani, the answer I was looking for. No one taking a chance on that one. They don't want to take negatives. I understand that. But if one of them had told me Kishore Biani, they would have got that point. Moving on. Question number 6. Who is the executive chairperson of Biocon Limited? Dibyam, go ahead.
Dr. Kiran Majumdar Shah.
Last one to you. Absolutely right. Kiran Majumdar Shah, the answer I was looking for. All right. Question number 7. Here we go. Who set up the Empress Mill in 1877 in Nagpur? Dibyam, again, go ahead.
Jamshedji Tata.
+1. A beautiful answer there. Getting a +1 is Dibyam. Jamshedji Tata is what I was looking for. Ladies and gentlemen, if Dibyam hadn't taken the negative earlier, technically he would have been on 3 points, but is still leading this wild card with 2 points. Let's now move on to question number 8. Here we go. In which country did Foxconn originate? Your options? No options. Rohan, go ahead.
Taiwan.
+1 to you. Absolutely right. Taiwan, giving Rohan that +1. 2 more questions remaining, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you where they stand. Rohan from KIT Bhubaneswar, or KIT if I'm not wrong as they are known better, and Dibyam from NIT Rourkela are both on 2 points each. They are doing well. Mohit is on 1 point. We have Chandrachud is yet to score, Pratyush is yet to score. 2 more questions remaining. Top 3 scorers go through. Let's remember that. Moving on to the penultimate question. Here we go. Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore was the brainchild of which successful leader or businessman? IISC or Indian Institute of Science. Oh, no one going on this one. Time is up. Oh, Pratyush, nick of time. Okay, go ahead.
Homi Bhabha.
Could you repeat that, Pratyush?
Homi Bhabha.
Taking a negative is Pratyush. He said Homi Bhabha. The answer, ladies and gentlemen, is J.N. Tata. J.N. Tata would have given you a +1, Pratyush. It's a very interesting fact. You must go back and read the history behind Indian Institute of Science. Very interesting read. The last question of this wild card. Here we go. What is the FEMA, that is FEMA, in India? I'll help you out. Foreign Exchange Manipulation Act or Foreign Exchange Management Act. Pratyush, go ahead.
Foreign Exchange Management Act.
+1. Absolutely right. Getting a +1 on that. Foreign Exchange Management Act. But that +1 doesn't really help Pratyush because he'd taken a negative in the previous question. He's back to nil. Let me tell you who has made it through, ladies and gentlemen, with 2 points each. Rohan from KIT Bhubaneswar and Dibyam from NIT Rourkela move into the cluster final, and joining them is Mohit from OUTR Bhubaneswar. All three of them make it through to the cluster final. Congratulations to all of you. But ladies and gentlemen, let's not forget, I have an audience question for you. Your question. Pedigree, the brand of pet foods, is owned by which American conglomerate? Let me repeat that one for you. Pedigree, the brand of pet foods, is owned by which American conglomerate? Key in your answers in the chat box. If you're quick and correct, you will win prizes. Join us in the cluster final, ladies and gentlemen. It will be an interesting one. Trust me on that. These regions are usually very good with their quizzing. Believe me, you will enjoy it. Join us at the cluster final. You take care.
You gotta move it to the max. You gotta move it in the soul. You gotta move it, move it, move it. Move it to the max.
The new Nexon EV Max moves you to the max.
Friends, put your hands together to welcome on stage Quizmaster Big Brain.
A big hello and a warm welcome to each and every one of you. You're with me, Big Brain, here today at yet another cluster of Tata Crucible for Campuses 2022. As we travel across the length and breadth of this country, it's been a fabulous journey as we've identified 20 of our champions so far in the run-up to the top 24 of this country. We are at cluster number 21 with 6 wonderful people who've qualified, of course, after grueling online rounds, multiple of them to get to the stage, and then of course the semi-finals, or the wild cards as we call it, with my young colleague Rashmi Furtado, and now with me here today in this final to find a slot in the nation's top 24. With cluster number 21, we are at Odisha. We were in Jharkhand earlier today. We are at Odisha now. So from Odisha, we will have our 21st champion representing them in the next round in the zonals of this nation. before we progress, a quick word to all of you watching this. Well, in the digital avatar of this quiz, we've now had more than 7 million people watching Tata Crucible. You heard that number right. 7 million people. That's the kind of following this quiz has. That's the stature of the quiz. And it's truly humbling to have been part of this journey. I think it's simply because of the kind of sharp minds that take part in this quiz. That's the sheer reason why people watch it. It's just with delight when they see these people crack the answers and say, my God, where do they know all these things? But the rules are important and you've been watching them for a while. 75 the value, 5 seconds the time, 1 attempt on the buzzer. 5 seconds the time. That's all they have to process the information and hit the buzzer. They all know the fair play protocol, so time for me to introduce these top 6 to you before we start playing Cluster 21 from Odisha. Qualifying as our first finalist here today, representing NIST Behrampur. Welcome to our final, Himanshu. Neighbouring Himanshu from XIMB, we have with us Utkarsh. Welcome, Utkarsh. Again from XIMB, and they normally do well in this quiz. They should actually, as the premier management institute of that state. Along with us as our next contender, Arunava. Welcome to you. Neighbouring Arunava have been the challengers of XIM in a sense every time the quiz happens there. From KIIT Bhubaneswar, we have this time around Rohan. Welcome to you. And representing OUTR Bhubaneswar, we have with us Mohit. Welcome to you, Mohit. Completing our lineup here today from NIT Rourkela, and not having to travel all the way to Bhubaneswar, otherwise they used to make that long distance travel to take part. They love the digital edition. From Rourkela, representing the NIT from there is Dibyam. Welcome, Dibyam. Those, ladies and gentlemen, are our 6 finalists here today, picked after those wild cards by Rashmi. One of these 6 will now move into the nation's top 24. We know the rules, we know the patterns. Time for us to move into the first frontier of our game. It's all about grit, guts and glory. That's our theme this year, and that's what you're going to require in a post-pandemic world. 75 the value. Time for you to find your grit. Here it is. All right. All questions will be largely visual. Some of them could be infographics, but I may have something to add as a supplement to what you see. But I will do that only till the moment you have buzzed. Because the moment you buzz, you're telling me you know the answer. So I don't have to give you any more information. So if we are ready, all set for this final, all the best to the 6 of you. Time for us to pick action on the first question of this region from Odisha, a very, very good state. Whether it is school quizzing, whether it is corporate quizzing or campus quizzing, you get some outstanding quizzers from this lovely state of our country. We begin with the first question coming up on your screens now. His father carried on the business of a haberdasher in the city of London. He was a customer of the Port of London. He was also the first governor of a famous group whose members were known as Merchant Adventurers. Which group, which became very popular later in India, are we talking about? Thomas Smith, the first governor. Nobody on the buzzer. 5 seconds of time lapsing, starting with a tough but classical question. Odisha likes the classical questions more normally. The answer is the East India Company. Well, Himanshu's reaction explains it. He's like, "Arey, I should have gone for it." Here's the next one on your buzzers. Question on your
Excuse me,
screen.
sir.
Yeah?
So I think the buzzer is locked.
If you buzz, it'll buzz. Try.
No, sir, it's locked.
So it was locked.
Okay. It's open on our screens. Can you try 1 second, please? Dibyam, try.
Yes, sir. Now it's
Himanshu, yeah, okay. ठीक है. All right. Moving on to our second question here today. Hands on the buzzer on your screens now. This gentleman is very respected in the modern world. John Goodenough. What is he credited with creating that is today becoming a revolution in the world, especially in the world of automobiles? He created something that is changing the automobile world. Mohit has gone for it. Yes, Mohit.
Electronic vehicles.
Well, minus 75 to you on electronic vehicles. We do have India's best supporting us, which is Nexon, and Tata Motors, of course, leading India's electronic vehicle revolution. But the answer that I was looking for is very critical to the electronic vehicles, which is the lithium-ion battery. The man behind the lithium-ion batteries, you should have got that right. As we go to the next one on your screens now. Started sometime in 2005-2006, Henley and Partners today offers a global rating of something for people. What item of great importance in the world do they rate and rank, saying this is the most powerful, this is the second most powerful, etc., etc. And a lot of people look at those things for a particular reason. They issue global rankings of countries for a particular item. Which country's dash is more powerful? Utkarsh is giving it a shot. Yeah, Utkarsh.
So how powerful the passports are for a country?
Well played. Very well played. He gets a 75. What is the strength of your passport? How many countries does it give you access to? Is very, very important. For example, countries like Singapore are believed to have very powerful passports. So good one. As we go to the next one on your screens now. Which company would you associate to British salt? Pure dried vacuum salt. Which Tata company owned this? Rohan's gone for it.
Tata Salt.
Better answer for a company name.
Tata Consumer Market. I don't know. Like
You got to give me
Tata
the
Salt.
I said which company. So Tata Salt is a brand. I'm being very
Tata
fair.
Consumers.
Minus 75. It's Tata Chemicals. Well, he messed it up there. He got the drift right. Rohan shaking his head. As we go to the next one, he gets a minus 75 on your screen. Here's your next question now. This gentleman became a brand name. He was the last Briton to win Wimbledon and the Davis Cup before Andy Murray did it. Someone's gone for it. Mohit.
This is Lacoste.
Well, not Lacoste. This is Fred Perry. Well, he's missing the ones. Lacoste, I said Britain, which meant British. So he messed up on that as well. Fred Perry, Bhubaneswar and Orissa starting in a different route here. But we'll go to the last question and then show you the binge board. On your screen, here's the next one now. This is a chemical which essentially is an alcohol analog of vitamin B5. It was discovered by the Swiss when they were essentially trying to help burn victims from World War II. The chemical also helps with elasticity of hair. Which brand name comes from this ingredient? It's an enol or a, yeah, Dibyam's gone for it. Yes, Dibyam?
Is this biotin?
Well, he'll take a negative too. Odisha is becoming a tough one. They're making it tough. Enol gives you panthenol and panthenol gives you Pantene. Pantene gets its name from this compound that helps you with hair. Well, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes you binge and you binge in different directions. We'll tell you why I made that comment on the other side of this break. Stay with us.
एक सजेशन दूं जी
क्या जी?
अपने टाटा प्ले के साथ बिंज ऐप ले लो जी
क्यों जी?
आपके फेवरेट ओटीटी ऐप्स एक ऐप पे जी मतलब नो अलग अलग पेमेंट, सिर्फ 1 सब्सक्रिप्शन जी। और 12 ऐप्स के सारे कंटेंट इजी सर्च पे, मतलब नो ढूंढना, ओनली देखना जी।
मतलब टाइम ही टाइम जी।
थोड़ा हमारे लिए भी निकाल लेना जी।
अब टाटा प्ले के साथ लीजिए बिंज ऐप।
Early days in our final here today, things moving towards XIMB. Early days though. We'll take a look at the binge board, but before that, let me ask you an audience question. You know what to do out there, wherever you're watching this quiz, whatever platform, just use the chat box, key in your answer, be quick, be correct, and you could win a prize from the Tatas. Here's my question to you. You got a lot of school kids watching Crucible nowadays, so I'm keeping it a little simpler for you so you can crack it. Let me ask you this. All you young school kids love Adidas. Question to you. Which country does it originate from? Key in your answer as we get back to the final. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're with me, Pig Brain, watching the Odisha final. The pressure is beginning to build up very early. Why do I make that comment? Here is the binge board. The pressure to score results in mistakes. And look at the number of people on negatives. 3 of them, Rohin, Mohit and Dibyam. All with good answers but the wrong answers. Utkarsh with 1 good answer is looking good in the lead. But all of that can change very quickly. As we move into the next frontier, rely on your guts. Here it is. Scoring is 75. The time limit is 5 seconds. Starting with the first one on your screen now. From 2019, this is the identity of a famous hotel chain. Which great hotel across the world carries this emblem? Rohan's gone for it.
This question is Sheraton.
Is correct. He'll get a 75 to negate his negative, and it's a good one on Sheraton. As we go to the next one on your screens now. This man was a doctor who created a type of muesli for breakfasts, which would be highly nutritious. The muesli, Rohan's gone for it again.
Kellogg's, Dr. Kellogg's.
Minus 75. In a hurry was Rohan. The answer is Bicker Muesli. B-I-C-H-E-R, Bicker Muesli. That is Dr. Beaker on your screen. So ladies and gentlemen, as we speak of Bicker and as we speak of muesli, what is becoming very important in a modern world that we live in is health, hygiene and wellness. To remind us of all those regularly is of course Tata 1mg, which strongly believes in wellness and health, and we truly appreciate their support for Tata Crucible. As we move on to our next question here today in this final. As we go to the next one coming up now. All of these are product segments of which giant present in Jharkhand, Orissa primarily. Dibyam's gone for it.
Tata Steel.
Superb answer. Quick and fast, he figured that out. Tata Steel is not just in steel. They cater to agriculture, consumer products, consumer goods, engineering, construction. Amazing giant from India, specifically Jharkhand and Odisha. All right, ladies and gentlemen, a beautiful answer there. Tata Steel, absolutely right. And going on to the next one, hands on your buzzers on screen. Overall answer is what matters in the next couple of questions. Lateral thinking that you need to do. Here's the first one now. All of these will lead you to a famous American giant. The partners, the collaborators. Someone's going for it. Utkarsh it is. Yes, Utkarsh.
Sir, Facebook.
Well played. Very well played. Facebook or Meta would lead you to the right answer. He gets another 75. Utkarsh is playing well. On to the next one. The buzzers will have to be fast. Himanshu needs to be quicker on the buzzer. As we go to the next one on your screens now. All of these will lead you. Rohan's gone for it very quickly. Yeah, Rohan?
Amazon.
Well played. Quick and fast, I think he knew a couple of them there because he was really fast on that. He gets a 75, so he's negating his negatives. Everyone's now beginning to improve themselves on the dashboard. On to the next one. Let's see what happens here. On your screen is the question. All of these will lead you to an important giant. Dibyam is super fast.
TNG.
Well played. No nonsense, super quick. Look at that reaction time, less than 2 seconds. And he gets a clean 75, getting himself into the positives. If he gets one more right, he's going to be on par, I think, with Utkarsh. I don't want to take mental guesses. But here's the next one. Let's see what happens on this. Who's the parent of all these initiatives? Utkarsh again is fast. Yes, Utkarsh.
Tata.
Well played. Cleverly played, nicely worked out. All of these are now part of the Tata group of companies. ION, of course, their own creation. AirAsia, Big Basket, all big initiatives grown amazingly during and post the pandemic. The scorecard's going to be an interesting one at the end of this segment. But for now, here's the next poser coming up on your screens. Overall answer matters. Here it is. Someone's gone for it. Rohan it is this time. He's quick when he's quick. Yes, Rohan?
Google, YouTube and all.
Well
all the
played.
Google subsidiaries.
Well played. Cleverly played. That's not necessarily a directly indicative YouTube logo, but that's how Google plays it on their graphic imagery. Google gets him a 75. He's, I think, moving back into the game with Dibyam. Utkarsh is playing well, but Utkarsh needs one or two more to really fly past the others. Let's see if the next one helps him do that on your screens now. This is an airline. Rohan is super fast.
Air Canada.
Is absolutely right. Oh, Air Canada. That was really quick and fast. The maple leaf, I think, really made him realize it was Canada, and then he zeroed in on it. I think that's taken him closer to Utkarsh. Maybe he's on 150. Too much of scoring in this round, so I'll wait for the next 3 questions, and then we'll see the binge board. For now, onto your screens. Here's the next one. Huge amount of money made from imagination. Himanshu has gone for it. Sheer imagination, great writer. Go ahead. Himanshu, your mic is off.
Sir. Michael John.
Oh, minus 75 to you on Michael John. This is Dr. Zeus. Dr. Zeus and all his characters which created so much wealth. No one believed imagination could create so much of wealth. As we go to the next one, Himanshu misses on that. And the penultimate one on your screen now. This is basically called the ADL. Utkarsh has gone for it.
Maslow's law need hierarchy pyramid.
Well, what you don't want is a negative. These are called ADLs, which are based on that. But ADLs are for the insurance world, and that's why we left ADLs there. It's not safety, belonging, does not necessarily come from Maslow, but these are activities of daily life. The world of insurance tries to map that, and they're called ADLs. So he went on a wrong track. I was trying to support with the information. He loses a 75 when he should not be losing it. And that's put him, I think, on par with Rohan, maybe Dibyan, I don't know. One question to go, and then I'll show you the binge board. Here's the next one on your screen now. This is a former IAS officer, Thomas Matthew. He is all over the news because he's going to be penning a biography on a topic and a person who, on individual life, hardly anything has been written about. Personally, this man does not like his personal life being written anywhere. Who is the person about whom the biography is being written? Famous Indian industrialist. He's a former IAS officer on your screen. Is someone giving it a shot? Great Indian, does never wanted his life to be documented. Nobody on the buzzer, nobody even taking a half chance on that. Well, Tough one. If you did not know it, the answer is Mr. Ratan Tata. He has got the consent to write on the life of Mr. Ratan Tata. Hardly anything that we know about Mr. Tata's life. We know the Tata Group well, 150-year legacy. But the man has remained reclusive and has always believed his work should do the talking. On the other side of the break, we're going to see a very interesting binge board. The game is not over at all. Utkarsh started very well, but there have been a lot of comebacks, typical like an Odisha final. But all that on the other side of this short break. Stay with us. Well, ladies and gentlemen, 2 frontiers of quizzing done here today. It's a complicated binge board that you're going to take a look at. But before that, let me get you to win some prizes wherever you're watching this quiz. What I'm going to do is, because we're in cluster number 21, I'm going to give you 2 clues and you're going to give me 1 answer. Okay? So 2 and 1, 21. And I've got 2 questions for you. Here are my 2 clues. You got to give me 1 person as an answer. Your 2 clues are Sapiens and Homo Deus. Key in your answer and you could win a prize. Okay, here's 1 more question. 2 clues, 1 answer. Tiger and pure magic. Those are your 2 clues. Give me the 1 answer and you could win a prize. Key it into that chat box. And ladies and gentlemen, let's get back to this final here today, the Campus Edition 2022 Tata Crucible. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You're with me, Pick Brain, here today. Before we move any further into the final frontier, you're watching Tata Crucible, the Campus Edition 2022, the Odisha final. And here's a look at the binge board. Oh, what a final we're having. Look at that. It's super close. Anybody can win it from here. Himanshu on -75 can do well. He just needs 2 or 3 right. Utkarsh on 150, Rohan on 150 may have a head-on-head battle. Dibyam on 75 is going to tell himself, I need 1 answer and then I'm in the game. Arunava is going to tell himself, I need 2 good answers. So it's too complicated a binge board out there. No one's really binging, but everyone's distributing the binge among themselves. As we move to the final frontier, time for you to go for glory. Final frontier of our game here today. Before we progress, ladies and gentlemen, time for us to proudly tell you that we here at Tata Crucible are celebrating 75 years of Indian independence. Azadi ka Amrit Mahotsav, as we call it. And at Tata Crucible, in the way that we know best, we pay a tribute to the pioneers, the people who built the brands, the leaders, the business tycoons, the advertising campaigns, everything that shaped the business side of India. And more importantly, laid this foundation for a phenomenal economy to build over the next 75, 150 and years ahead. Our moment to pay a tribute to our nation's great contributors to the world of business, India at 75 from a business perspective. 6 final questions all about India, 75 the value, 5 seconds the time. That'll determine who goes into the nation's top 24. Starting with the first one, hands on the buzzer. Question on your screen now. This gentleman built a huge corporation. Rohan's gone for it even before I could speak. Yes.
Shivnadar HCL.
Outstanding. It puts him in the lead. Oh, what a cracker of an answer. He's crossed Utkarsh now and he's coming back from a negative. So Rohan's really playing well. This question could be the tipping point for him. Here's the next one on your screens now. This is a famous group founded way back in 1914 by Paramanand, who came as a young entrepreneur from Shikarpur, which is essentially in the Sindh region, present day, that would be Pakistan. He started a trading business and then sailed between India and Iran to set up an office in Iran. Name this famous group, which still holds the family name as the group name. 5 seconds running away. No one's gone on the buzzer. Tough one. The Hinduja Group. The history of the Hindujas is what I was giving you. Himanshu, too late on the buzzer. Sorry about that. We'll have to refresh the buzzer there. And no points if you are beyond the 5-second mark. As we go to the next question, missing out on the Hinduja group, 4 questions remaining on your screen. Here's the next one. The 8 o'clock brand is an important acquisition. Dibyam's gone for it. Yes, from Rourkela.
Tata.
Can you be a little more specific?
Tata Consumer Products.
Absolutely. Absolutely well played. He gets a 75. Oh, he's not giving up in this game. He's now on par with Utkarsh. If Dibyam gets one more, even the second place fight could be a tight one. So it's Utkarsh, Rohan, Dibyam, and we've got 3 questions to go. Here's the next one coming on your screens now. A former RBI governor from India has been appointed the vice president of the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. Someone's gone for it, Rohan, it is.
Raghuram Rajan.
Minus 75. Just what he did not want. The human tendency is to go for the most popular names. The answer, Urjit Patel. Well, Dr. Rajan is busy with his academic life in the United States, and Rohan did not want to give up a 75. 3 of them are on 150 with 2 questions to go. The quiz is not over. As we go to the penultimate question on your screens now. Kishore Kumar is known for endorsing a great brand. Dibyam's gone for it now.
Is this Brill Cream?
Lovely. Lovely. Keep your hair glossier for successful men. Well, Rohan's really showing his anger and angst, and he should, because he went for Dr. Raghuram Rajan without thinking through that question, and that has put Dibyam in the lead. Is this young lad from Rourkela going to dislodge some heavyweights on screen? Well, the final question will tell us that story. 2 of them are locked for the second place, Rohan and Utkarsh. The final question on your screen now. This is an advertisement to make India strong. Who released this campaign? Rohan's taken his initiative.
JRD Tata.
Well, he went for it. He says JRD Tata. He gets a minus 75. Well, Rohan's really played this game with a lot of urgency, which has cost him the final. He's actually helped Utkarsh, I think, finish runner-up here today with that answer. Well, ladies and gentlemen, he's at least sportive to say, well, fair enough, man, I messed it up here today. He's got a lovely smile. But ladies and gentlemen, the answer, the Indian Air Force. The Indian Air Force, at 75 years of Indian independence, we salute one of India's biggest recruiters of sharp minds from campuses. This was a campus recruitment initiative from Indian Air Force, breaking what traditionally would not be have done by any of such players in the defense across the world. The Indian Air Force came out with some amazing campaigns to attract youngsters. Well, ladies and gentlemen, a remarkable final here today with what one would have thought would be an unlikely outcome at the beginning of the quiz. Here's why I make that statement. Look at that binge board. Utkarsh did superbly well, but his negatives knocked him back to 150, and then he tended to keep quiet. But from XIMB, he finishes runner-up. Staying calm, quiet, but on course, scoring when it mattered. Our champion here today from NIT Rourkela, Dibyam. Congratulations to you. Extremely well done with 225. He deserves to move into the nation's top 24. And ladies and gentlemen, it's our pleasure and privilege at this stage to bring in our guest of honor, a very experienced person. He is the Vice President and Head of Human Resources at the Orissa Power Generation Corporation. With more than 3 decades of experience, he's certainly an authority in the domain that he represents, which is HR. And that is a domain which all of you youngsters would look to for advice as you are looking to embark on your corporate careers. Our guest of honor here today at the Odisha final, Mr. Rajendra Kumar Senapati. Thank you so much, sir, for taking time and joining us. Albeit the short notice that you got to join in. Truly appreciate that. So, I'll start with a question, so that could help you advise these youngsters. You've seen a lot of HR in your life. The last 2 years was probably the most difficult of all of them. Having seen through those tough years, these youngsters who are going to come into the workforce are going to come into a new India and a new world. What's your advice to them, sir?
Good afternoon, everybody, and congrats to the winners. This pandemic last 2 years has taught, especially the corporate executives, a great lesson. And as you asked the question, it is very apt to the current context, and especially for the freshers who will be now coming to this corporate world. The only buzzword I'll be telling after facing this situation, skilling and reskilling yourself. It's immaterial whether you are a mechanical engineer, you don't want to skill yourself in computer. A computer engineer in some other domain. See, this situation is such that you may have to do multiple tasks also. It's not only task that you have to look into. The second thing is that, through the skilling, you have to increase your competencies. Because competencies, that drives you to the higher and higher. And especially these leadership skills that you acquire through competencies. So, taking to these three factors, reskilling and reskilling, and also leadership, acquiring competencies to become a good leader. And the third thing I will suggest you guys, that whatever you have learned in your course curriculum inside the campus, in the book, as far as possible, and the best thing would be transfer your knowledge to the real life situations. What you have read in the books, the same situation may not come in corporate world, but you have to apply your common sense and resolve issues and succeed in your corporate life. As I said, in the initial days, that is junior management level, as I have experienced through also during my last 3 decades, 90% of your bookish knowledge will be required and 10% will be your common sense. In the middle management, it is 50-50. The more you grow, become the top management, senior management, 90% will be your common sense and 10% will be your bookish knowledge, what you have read in your academic curricula. So always your common sense, will drive you to the top. So that would be my advice to you all, that this campus who transfers a caterpillar to a butterfly. So, but that journey, the caterpillar has to take that journey, and you have to decide whether you have to remain as a caterpillar or you have to become a beautiful butterfly. And corporate world really needs brilliant people, brilliant guys like you, and who are the future for this nation, and who are the budding managers and entrepreneurs, and who will be taking India to the different heights. And definitely our government is very supportive in all respects, and we are respected, and our guys, our technocrats, our arts, our science, our culture are respected in the world, and definitely we can create a niche for ourselves, and we can excel in all respect in coming days. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. That's really wealth of advice for them. Truly appreciate that. Moving straight into our prizes here today. Close call. Utkarsh will look at it and say maybe he should have gone for a few more questions. Somewhere I think he started playing a little safe in the middle overs, but he finishes runner-up here today with 150 is Utkarsh from XIMB. Congratulations to you. And finishing champion here today, just staying the course. Sheer resilience makes him a champion. Dibyam from NIT Rourkela. Congratulations to you on that outstanding victory, Dibyam, as he moves into the nation's top 24. We'll let our guest go at this stage. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Truly appreciate your presence.
Thank you very much for giving an opportunity to meet these brilliant guys and witness these proceedings. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So, ladies and gentlemen, a big thank you to our guest of honor here today, Mr. Rajendra Kumar Senapati, as we take our next champion into the next round, young Dibyam from NIT Rourkela, as he marches into the elite zone for the zonals. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, from my young colleague Rashmi Furtado, from me, Big Brain, as we move into the final frontier or the business end of Crucible, with 3 more champions to be identified, you sure do not want to miss the next cluster that we will bring to you. Till then, thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.